Here it is. Anybody know what this is? Yeah, you do. Okay. If you know what this is, then you're thinking, how did this thing get into a high school? Well, what happened was I took a class with Faye Butler, and at the time, these were not very expensive. And through grant money, we were able to find one. I did a lot of research to find one. And then we were very lucky. What happened was the school said, okay, sure, but how are you going to power it? So we actually had to get new electricity. Okay. So that goes in like this. Hey guys, I'm teaching them at the same time. So this goes in and you have to turn it. You see it's got a keyed, right? And so that goes in like this. And then it gets turned. You see? And then this goes on, but not yet. So you follow the thing. We're going to go over to the breakers because we have 208 and this is 456, I think. So we go over here. And these guys are using the lathe, which is cool. They're doing a part for a community college project, but you know they're in high school. And you come over here to where it says 208 transformer to 456. Power on. Okay, then what happens is that goes over here to this. Okay, so the power's coming in and they have to change the way the power's delivered. It's a transformer, okay? Then over here, this is 480. It's going to go the other side of the room. They put it up like this because they don't want students messing around with it. But once it's on, now 456 is dangerous. More dangerous than any other electricity in the building. But if you handle it carefully, no problem. All right. So let's get this stuff out of the way. This is just the dust cover. All right. Okay. Now, okay. This is in, right? Power is going to the box. You can now turn the box on. Okay? There's a lot of steps. All right. So now what we got here, oil has to be in it. All right. Now, sorry if I cut myself off about the backstory. Let me just tell you real quick. This Pullmax, okay, was originally received back in 1962 by a company called the Clarkey Floor Machine Company. And this card is at the Pullmax American office. And then this is the story. Basically, what they did was they made floor sanding equipment, but they needed a sheet metal cutter. Now, a Pullmax nowadays is used for shrinking, stretching, beading, turning, like all kinds of operations for sheet metal, right? But originally, it was just a reciprocating hammer. You see, when you press up and down, this is all it's doing is going up and down. It's just a hammer on a cam, so it goes like this, like this. You see? It's like pow, 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 pow. It's just a hammer, okay? And this is running the original motor. And I think it's around 2 horsepower, okay? And it runs it through belts. The belts go over here. You can see over here. The belts are in here. Now you can move it by hand as well. You see? Now you can also adjust. You can drop it down. and then check your clearance. You see, like this. You see that? Okay, so now you film, but don't press that button. Okay. So just as an example of what it can do with the tooling that's in there, we made that tooling. This is just a flat sheet of 030 mild steel. And I could put this in here. Okay, and I could press power. Now there's no guard on the back, so I could turn if I want to. Okay, sorry about the bell, we're in a high school. I could turn if I want to. So I could turn right here. Okay, now that's just pure freehand. I'm not doing it with a guide, but you can see what's happening because of that die. I've got a shape going, right? Now I'm the expert when it comes to this machine. Nah, I'm just joking. I'm still learning. There's a big learning curve. Every tool you make has its own unique pattern. It might stretch in areas you don't want it to. It might bend or move metal in other areas. It might shrink in some areas. So it really depends on what you're trying to do. But I was just showing you that you can make your own tooling. We cut that ourselves. And I have no guide on here right now. So if there's no guide, it's really up to your handwork, okay? Now the reason I started doing this video today is because I'm introducing my students to shrinking. We did shrinking in video part 1 just by hand, and we've done shrinking on the shrinker, mechanical shrinker, which grabs it and pulls it like that. But there's only like a 1-inch throat, whereas you can see the throat on this machine, it's pretty far. I don't know, what is that? Maybe it might be close to 3 feet. Okay, so not to get too into the tooling, because you could make any shape you want. But just in general, we were trying to make a flange on something, and we were able to do that. Now I can pull down. So let's do this again. Just on the edge there. Or I can pull up. That's what I meant to say. And so that gave me a turn, like an edge that turned over, and I could continue that. But anyway, this is just random trying out stuff. We're gonna switch the tooling, and we're gonna put in our shrinker dies. Now, shrinker dies look like this. We showed yesterday. What they look like is they look like a thumbnail, okay? And what's gonna happen is it's gonna go like this. All right, and we showed yesterday in the video that what you end up doing is you're making what's called a tuck, and the tuck, what it does is it reduces the linear distance, but then you're gonna shrink the metal, and then you're gonna make the metal thicker, probably by maybe a half of a thousandth, so 0.0005 maybe. I'm not even sure what the thickness is, but it's going to go up more. Okay, so let's change the tooling. All right, so to change the tooling over here, you change out the bottom holder. Okay, This is a square drive. I don't have the square drive, so I'm just going to use a adjustable, but I'm going to be careful not to mark it up. Okay, and you turn that. Then what you do is this whole thing slides out. Okay, now people pay a lot of money to have what's called the center. This is an offset, and it would be in the center. Like, instead of having it here, it would be right in the center. We don't have that, so I just offset it. Maybe one day we'll make that.
You still teach the engineering drawing class?
No.
It's not called an engineering. We still do the SolidWorks.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I still teach SolidWorks.
Hands-on. You're making what you're designing now?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, they integrated it. Okay. So then this piece right here, that was our custom-made tooling. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the Fay Butler tooling in. Oh, did I mention this tooling was made by Fay Butler? I don't know if you could see that. And he engraved it. Now this fit is so good that there'll be pressure. You can actually hear the pop. Ready? You heard that? That was pretty good, right? So you got to be careful with this, and then it's got to bottom out on this. This is your adjustment. Okay. And then the shorter one goes up here. And you have to, now you need a hook spanner, but I don't have that. I'm just going to be very careful. I don't recommend doing it like this. And there might be some people cringing right now. But I'm just going to use it as if it's a hook spanner. Let's see, am I going the right way? Oh, that's tighter. I don't make it that tight to begin with. So there's not much pressure there. So now don't let this drop out. So there you go. There's your top die. Right? Okay. So now here comes the top die. And same thing, just make sure that it's up there. Okay. And then take your pretend hook spanner. Okay. So that's it, that's up there. And now take the bottom die. And the fit is amazing. It's very precise. You see? There's barely any movement. And then you slide it in. Now I'm going to have to reduce this down. So I'm undoing the adjustment right now. And I'm bringing it down so I can fit. Okay. So this would be like Pullmax for beginners. There's a lot of people that know how to do this, so this is not the best video. This is just a video. It's really for my students. Okay, wait a minute. Has to go like this. There. Okay, so now let me check. I'm going to check my clearance. Now when I'm down, oh, I think we got this messed up. This is facing the wrong way. Whoop. Oh my God, that is tight in there. The suction and the friction doesn't allow me to take this out. So let's do this. Okay, and we're moving ahead, we're moving ahead, we're moving ahead, we're moving ahead. Let's see if we can take, oh my God. All right, bear with me, I know. If you're, I guess you could fast forward. I don't edit my videos because it's just like, that takes a lot of time. Does anybody know a technique of editing videos like super quick? Okay. If you do, let me know. Love to hear it. I just do this to help out students. I don't really, this is not, you know, to make the best video that ever, there's other videos on the web, you know, that are better than this. But this is more like, this is just beginner with failures. I don't mind. Push that down. Okay, hold on. Okay, down. All right, so, and then what you got to do is make sure that the stroke is at the bottom there. And then what you do is just make it kiss and start with that. Okay, now we take this little jammy mammy. I made this little piece that fits in here. It kind of gives me the right amount. And then I do this. I don't go too much on that because I don't want to mark up tooling. Now that I think I have the position, I'm going to lock the bottom one. Okay. Now you notice I don't let this strip. I grab in on the teeth, right? So I'm teaching this video at the same time. Okay. Let's come up. All right. Let's turn it on. Let's test it. There you go. Now you can adjust. Well, hold on. Let's loosen this a little bit. And you can adjust now. So listen to this, right? You hear that? Okay, you don't want the dies hitting each other. So now if we put in you hear it? When you hear it in the, see now there's no power. There, right about there. Okay. You go in a straight line. Now you see the tuck? Now let's stop. Take a look at the tuck right here. Do you see that? Can you see it from this point of view as well, like right here? Okay. So now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna run it and we're gonna pull it out. Okay. So let's take a look. So what that did was it reduced the distance by shrinking. Okay. Now I got some extra material here. This is not a great example because of all the other stuff I did. Now, if I had some body hammers and a anvil, that'd be good. I could flatten all this out. You want to grab the anvil and the body hammers? Okay. All right. Get help from Elvis maybe or something. All right. Let's run it again. Let's see if we get some shrinking going. You go straight. You got to go straight. Like that. Hey. Hold on. We're doing a video. That's beautiful. You did that? Yeah. Hey, this is Mr. Cornitzer, and he made an adapter for the top of. This is awesome. He made an adapter for the top of his Delta Wasp. It's a 3D printer, but he needed a vacuum adapter so the vacuum hose can hook up to where the fan goes. Very nice. You have radiuses everywhere. I've taught you well. You have radiuses everywhere.
Yeah?
Dude.
You like it?
I think you should photograph this. I think this is awesome. You gonna try it out?
Yeah.
Now you might, if you want, you could chase this out and drill.
I was going to, yeah. That's why I made it smaller.
Yeah, because it's not gonna be precise. Very cool, man. And I like that you got a thick radius there.
Yep.
Is it the right size for the vacuum hose? All right, go check it out. Very cool.
I'm scared to check it.
I like it because we're in a maker space, so we make stuff and we solve problems. You know, mechanically. I don't know. Other problems, we probably keep those. Okay. So now it looks like all I'm doing is bending it down, but let's just take a look for a second. What's happening is that that distance is shorter now. I can even, yeah, it fits. He's excited. This is not the best example. but now it's shorter. Let's see if we can keep going. What you want to do is you want to go through and then pull down. And let's do the other side too. Okay, now here's how you know it's working. Okay, this edge is flat. So you see what's happening is that the top one is curved. I don't know if you could see that in the camera. Can you see that, Hugo? You see? So I never curved it like that, but what I did do is I reduced this distance, which then makes the top curve over. So if you were doing like a some sort of compound curve, all you're basically doing is making compound curves, which is curves in two directions. So you're not just bending something like this, you're also bending in the other direction. So it's bending in this direction and this direction. That's a compound curve. That means that the thickness has changed. So that's evidence right there. And then if you go to step on it, okay, I go to step on it, there's still this bump in the middle because this has been pulled down and this is at regular thickness. So not the prettiest example, probably the worst example ever, but we've got these beautiful sheets that we're gonna use, and I think we'll make a bowl. We'll make a circle and we'll go around and we'll shrink, 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 and then these guys are gonna get a chance to do it. I'm gonna do one more first shrinking, and then we'll talk about it. And then, so right now, if I go like this, if you were to look at this, do you guys have a ruler? Or, oh, actually, can I have that piece of wood that's straight? So, right now, this is straight, right? But we're not straight in this direction, okay? So if I reduce the distance over here and over here, this will end up curving, which makes more of like a bowl shape. And that's where you're shrinking the distance. That's the only time you can get like a ball shape in a piece of sheet. Sheet is just like paper, but thicker and harder. That's it. All right, so let me do the first one. And then I'm gonna hand it over to my student.